The world we live in today has been shaped by centuries of selective storytelling, often burying deeper truths beneath layers of whitewashing. So much so that even religions haven't been spared. That's why we so often see religious images depicting Jesus as a white man with blue eyes and brown hair, a portrayal that doesn't reflect his actual origins and can feel alienating for many, especially given that Jesus wasn't European. Today's video explores the African roots of some of the Bible's most influential figures. These leaders didn't just shape religious beliefs, they impacted culture and history, leaving legacies that resonate through the centuries. Moses. Our first figure is Moses, a revered icon in the Bible with ties that trace back to Africa, particularly Egypt. His story begins in the Egyptian kingdom, where his mother set him afloat in a basket on the Nile to save him from Pharaoh's deadly decree. When Moses was rescued by Pharaoh's daughter, he was raised in the Egyptian royal court, where he enjoyed the privileges and education of a prince. Growing up with a royal Egyptian upbringing gave him the strategic skills he'd later need to lead his people to freedom. Moses' connections to Africa aren't just geographical, they symbolize resilience, purpose, and faith. His name is also believed to come from the Egyptian word ms, meaning is born. Some scholars, however, suggest it might be derived from the African name Mose or Moshe, blending Egyptian heritage with African roots. And that's not all. According to the historian Josephus, Moses was once appointed general of an Egyptian army and led a campaign against Ethiopia. His success there was so remarkable that Ethiopian people became fond of him, possibly adopting the practice of circumcision from Moses. After fleeing Egypt, Moses found himself in Midian, where he met Jethro, a priest, and his 7 daughters. Jethro's family embraced Moses, taking him in when he needed refuge. It was through Jethro's mentorship that Moses deepened his relationship with God, laying the foundation for his future role as a leader. This transformative period of Moses' life included learning from Jethro's family, who had their own connections to Ethiopian culture and the God of Israel. This family provided him with a spiritual foundation that would prepare him for his mission to lead the Israelites. Moses even married Zipporah, Jethro's daughter, strengthening his ties to African heritage. In the Book of Numbers, Moses' siblings criticize him for marrying a Cushite woman, emphasizing his connection to Africa. His African roots aren't just a part of his background, they're woven into his identity, driving his mission and faith. From the Nile to Mount Sinai, Africa was with Moses every step of the way. Simon of Cyrene. Next up is Simon of Cyrene, who is introduced in the Bible as a man from Cyrene, an ancient city located in present-day Libya, North Africa. Simon, a foreigner and likely just a passerby, is suddenly pulled from the crowd by Roman soldiers. Without warning, he's ordered to carry Jesus' cross on the road to Golgotha. Now, Simon's act of bearing the cross may seem small, but it has become a powerful symbol of shared suffering and compassion. What's fascinating is Simon's African heritage. His origins in Cyrene highlight the ethnic and geographic diversity within the Bible. Simon is more than just a bystander. He represents a part of Africa and reminds us that Jesus' message transcends borders and cultures. Some traditions even suggest that Simon's act of carrying the cross left a lasting impact on his family, possibly linking his legacy to the early Christian church. It's incredible how this figure from Cyrene, who walked roughly 800 miles to reach Jerusalem, has come to represent resilience, unity, and share humanity across centuries and cultures. Queen of Sheba. Then we have the Queen of Sheba, known for her intelligence and wealth. Her most famous moment comes from her visit to King Solomon. But this wasn't just a diplomatic mission or a trade deal, it was a quest for wisdom. She traveled all the way to Jerusalem, laden with spices, gold, and precious stones, essentially the treasures of her kingdom. Historians debate her origins, but she's often associated with modern-day Ethiopia or Yemen, linking her to the rich historical traditions of Africa. The Queen of Sheba's arrival represented a grand display of wealth and intellect, as she tested Solomon's renowned wisdom with her challenging questions. This encounter wasn't just a personal exchange, it was a powerful bridging of cultures and civilizations. Her story serves as a testament to Africa's role as a cultural and intellectual beacon throughout history. The Queen of Sheba also challenges the often male-dominated narratives of the past, representing the strength and intelligence of African women in ancient times. In Ethiopian tradition, she's known as Makeda, and her legacy has profoundly influenced Ethiopian monarchy for centuries. Legend has it that she and Solomon had a son named Menelik I, who founded the Solomonic dynasty in Ethiopia. This dynasty claimed descent from Solomon, ruling for generations and solidifying her place in history. The Queen of Sheba isn't just a prominent figure in the Bible, she also holds a significant place in the holy texts of Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. Celebrated for her immense wealth and wisdom, she's known for challenging King Solomon and proving that intelligence and strength know no boundaries. The Ethiopian eunuch. Another figure is the Ethiopian eunuch. He was a high-ranking official in the court of Queen Candace of Ethiopia, serving in a time when the kingdom of Kush covered much of modern-day Sudan and parts of Upper Egypt. When the eunuch was returning home after a pilgrimage to Jerusalem, traveling about 1,500 miles from the capital city of Meroe, it was on this journey that he had a life-changing encounter with Philip the Evangelist. While traveling on a desert road, guided by the Holy Spirit, Philip approached the eunuch's chariot. He found the eunuch reading from the book of Isaiah, a powerful prophecy about Jesus. Philip took this moment to share the gospel, explaining the meaning of the scriptures and how they pointed to Christ. Moved by Philip's words, the eunuch was inspired and asked to be baptized right there on the spot. This conversion marks one of the first recorded non-Jewish baptisms, signifying the spread of Christianity beyond Judea and into Africa. When the eunuch returned to Ethiopia, it's believed he played a crucial role in sharing the teachings of Jesus, laying the groundwork for the deep Christian roots that would take hold in Ethiopia. The story of the Ethiopian eunuch is detailed in Acts 8 verses 26 to 40. Philip's encounter with him highlights not just the power of evangelism but also the beauty of divine connection, how the Holy Spirit guides individuals to pivotal moments in their spiritual journeys. Hagar. Hagar was an Egyptian woman and a handmaid to Sarah, the wife of Abraham. In an ancient society where bearing children was crucial, Sarah, unable to conceive, offered Hagar to Abraham as a surrogate mother. But Hagar's story goes beyond mere tradition. Her Egyptian roots add a rich multicultural layer to the biblical narrative, emphasizing the interconnectedness of ancient societies. Some interpretations suggest that Hagar represents an African woman, linking her story to the broader narrative of African peoples, particularly those descended from Shem and Ham. After living in Canaan for 10 years, Hagar became pregnant, igniting immediate tension between her and Sarah. This conflict ultimately forced Hagar to flee into the desert, a decision that would forever alter the course of her life. In the wilderness, Hagar experienced a divine encounter that's one of the Bible's most moving moments. The angel of the Lord found her and offered comfort, telling her that her son Ishmael would become the father of a great nation. This moment illustrates God's compassion and attention, particularly towards those who feel unseen and unheard. Hagar is one of the few women in the Bible to receive a direct promise from God, marking her as a crucial figure. However, Hagar's challenges didn't stop there. After Sarah gave birth to Isaac, tensions flared again, and both Hagar and Ishmael were sent away into the desert. But once more, God provided for them, reaffirming the promise that Ishmael would father a great nation. Hagar's story has been interpreted in various ways as well. Some argue that Hagar's expulsion from Abraham's household represents a form of emancipation, highlighting her journey towards freedom. For many, Her experiences serve as a source of inspiration, especially for African American women who draw strength from her story in their own struggles against oppression. Jesus. Throughout history, the image of Jesus has evolved, depicted in various ways across different cultures, each shaped by local traditions, beliefs, and societal values. While the classic European image of a fair-skinned Jesus became widely recognized, depictions have expanded over time to include representations that challenge these norms. And with that, a pivotal question arises: did Jesus have black ancestry? According to some interpretations of the Bible, the answer is affirmative. Scriptures suggest that Jesus and his ancestors were black. For example, in Revelation, Jesus is described with hair as white as wool and feet like fine brass, a vivid imagery that contradicts conventional Eurocentric portrayals. The Book of Daniel further reinforces this notion. His body was like beryl, and his arms and feet like polished brass. And let's not forget about the disciples. The Bible mentions a man named Simeon, called Niger, which means black in Latin. Moving through history, we find more evidence. Job declares, "My skin is black upon me." King Solomon describes himself as black but comely. These testimonies throughout the scriptures offer a narrative that aligns with an African heritage. For African and African American communities, envisioning Jesus as a black figure carries immense significance. This portrayal serves as a beacon of identity and empowerment, countering centuries of Eurocentric imagery. The stories of these biblical figures reveal a rich tapestry of African heritage and cultural significance that has often been overlooked or whitewashed throughout history. Understanding these figures not only enriches our knowledge of religious history, but also reclaims a vital part of cultural identity for many. What figures or stories do you think deserve more recognition? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more, and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos.